The title kind of gives it away, bro. But in this video, I just want to share with you my journey from being someone that, literally in a commission-only role, couldn't make enough money to pay his rent and receiving housing benefit, to fast forward to 2025, making over $5,000 to take home. So in case you're brand new to this channel, my name is Marvin. I joined sales back in 2016. You can probably tell right now, new to the YouTube game, so you could do me a massive favor, maybe hit the like and subscribe button if you like what you're seeing. I'm going to be sharing with you what I think are the 6 most important lessons that I had to master. It was all, in my opinion, self-development related, habits, mindset, productivity. That's what I think really makes the difference. And so I just want to share with you what I think was the most important part in that. So once again, no gimmicks, no fluffs. We're going to jump straight into it. And so number 1 is mastering work ethic. And it sounds basic, but the reason I say this is because, especially when you're new in sales or in sales in general, all I was told, and what you're probably getting as well, is that you just need to be confident, just, it's fine, like, don't worry, like, just be yourself, be confident, just, you've got this, it's all good. It's like, it's just talking to people, it's simple. And so, especially when you don't have the reference experience for why you would be good at sales, it's very hard to fake that. And so work ethic is basically your quickest route to that. And I'm taking this, and I'm now reframing this straight out of the words from Alex Hormozi, but you just basically want to make it, you want to work so hard that it's unreasonable for you to not succeed. So especially at the beginning of my career in door-to-door sales, 6 days, 6-day weeks, 10-hour days. There we go. Why was that so hard to say? Working 10 hours a day for 6 days a week, was pretty normal for me. That was just the role, And very quickly, when you do that for a year, for 2 years, you build up so many reference experiences of, getting a sale really early in the day, getting a sale at that last push, that last conversation, like, come on, one extra, just, that person told you to come back later on, go on, just give them one more try. All these reference experiences you build up just make it very hard for you to then not be confident. And you can apply that to any role. Once you've done a certain amount of pitches or conversations or deals that have closed, and that was, directly from you, it's then very not hard for your brain to think, yes, I actually do have this skill. I know I am good at this because I've got XYZ examples of me being good at this, But you can't fake that. You need the reference. And so work ethic will just get you there the fastest. So that is something that you truly need to hone in on. Number 2, and I think this is what I think is actually one of the most important ones, and in my opinion, is what gives the guys who are kind of average at sales and the guys who are great and end up being high performers the edge, which is that at the end of the day, you're in a performance game. So treat yourself like an athlete. And that sounds a bit cringe, but genuinely, it's your job, especially if you want big commission slips, to perform at the best level possible, day in, day out, week after week, month after month, year after year. And so it's very stupid to think that your physical health and mental health being at the best of being the best as they can be wouldn't make a difference. And so it's very cliche, to see people kind of doing things like walking into the office with their energy drink, having a fucking bag of crisps for their lunch, and then a quick little fag, and then right, cool, back to it. Like, that's make it make sense, especially for the long run. If you want sustainable performance and you're in it for life. So what I'm trying to say to you is that staying in shape, eating healthy, reading books, educating yourself, developing your mind, developing, your overall habits, how you carry yourself, and just developing that aspect of you massively correlates into how you then do in sales. So I'll say it again, treat yourself like an athlete, look after yourself. You're in a performance game, and the less breaks you need to take, the better. Number 3, and I think this is something that is probably the biggest misconception if you're brand new, or maybe you're still finding your feet, is that there's no magical intro script or even objection handling model. If you've got a sales guru telling you, I've got the best script, follow this script and you'll do your sales will explode, complete BS. And I've been in sales for 9 years now, and I've been in enough different industries where I can tell you it really is bullshit. It doesn't make a difference. what people buy at the end of the day, cool. You can have certain frameworks, you can have certain structures to follow, of course. It makes sense to have an overall guidance of how a conversation should go. But ultimately, bro, it's authenticity. It's your conviction behind what you're saying, the intention of how you're coming across, and just how grounded you are in yourself. Like, are you being genuine? That's all a person wants. Like, a person doesn't want to be sold to by some sales guy. Like, they want to buy. And so if you just genuinely present something that makes sense, that will improve the person's current situation, and they can read that, it becomes unreasonable for them to not say yes. Sure, whether there can be different hurdles or circumstances in the way, but how you're coming across is the most important thing, and at the core of, you know, whether you're, what am I trying to say here? It's at the core of just how well you'll perform, you know? I'm not gonna edit this, fuck it, we're keeping it raw. So, yeah, like at the end of the day, can the person feel like you're actually trying to help them? Or are you just in it for the sale? It's basically what it comes down to. And if that's something that maybe you find difficult right now, then point number 4, spend time with people better than you. For different reasons. You can either watch and learn like the mechanics of how someone can come across more genuine, the tone of voice, the eye contact, the body language, the mirroring them, the building the rapport, whatever it might be. But also on the flip side, what you might need is just a boost in expectation. You know, we all know, you know, you spend the 5 people that you spend the most time with, you know, you become the 6th, and you become a product of your environment. Your brain adapts. So again, it's just straightforward that if you want to raise your game, become better, whether it's again in how you're in your delivery or just how you think, that you should be in a room full of people that are kicking your ass. And this is often something that I did, you know, back in the roles that I was kind of in, the high performers, they tended to be in London. So numerous times I did trips down to London. And at first I thought it was just because I was doing shit, so I wanted to almost get like a retrain. But then very quickly being in that environment actually just made me level up my game. You know, I heard people reading out their goals for the day, like, I'm doing this many sales, I'm on this much for the week. Oh yeah, this is my PB. And you can't help but want to match that. And so nothing actually changed in my pitch, but just the expectation raises the standards of then how you perform. You know, you just expect more from yourself, and that expectation effect really just carries into it. So yeah, if it's been a minute that you spend time with someone who's better than you, I would highly suggest. Number 5, rest and reward yourself, bro. You know, we've talked about it so far. You're in a performance game. Sales is a grind. It's hustle, 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 you know. Sometimes things can get dull, and you need to remind yourself of why you're pushing. You know, really, really spend some time again with your why. For me, this is often spending time with family. I was living in a different city, so spending time with my siblings and my mum, for example, really reminded me of why I want to push Emma Commission, be able to treat them, you know, provide opportunities for them, or just, you know, being able to pay for a meal and saying, yeah, it's on me, without even having to bat an eyelid. Like little things like that. I can't tell you what your why is, but so you know what you need to refocus on. But yeah, I think it's very important that your brain understands that, yeah, I'm grinding, and then I get a reward for that, to kind of just refuel that dopamine loop and understand why you're doing what you're doing. Yada, 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 you get the point. But yeah, rest and reward is key. It's, yeah, you need to know why you started and why you're going to keep going. As Kim Kardashian would have said, you know, you didn't come this far just to come this far. So get a little reminder of it. I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyways, the last point, perspective is king. I understand that when you're deeply committed to your sales role, and when a deal falls through, or when you're just having one of those weeks or months and you're really like, fuck, like I'm never gonna sell again, like life is so shit, like what am I gonna do? Like it can feel very emotional, but bro, like, you need to take perspective and like understand that you're in a job where the worst possible thing that can happen is that someone says no to you. Like, really deep that. Like, the word no, like, to getting turned down, a rejection is the worst thing that happens to you. Like, it's okay, life is fine. And this was trained and ingrained into us over and over again. And what I now coach people as well is that there's people with jobs where they really could make or break someone's life. You know, think about a doctor, a firefighter, someone working on an oil rig, where if you don't perform how you should, like, there's some real consequences, you know what I mean? So yeah, being in a job where having to take a few no's suddenly doesn't feel so bad, you know, and I can, based on how good I become at that, even make more money, feels like a pretty cushy role. Like, give me another job where without education and certain degrees, whatever, you can live the life that you live if you were, you know, really excelling in sales. Like, I think it's pretty hard to compare. So just really switch your perspective on the challenges that you think you're facing, and remember that there's people out there who've got it worse, and then there's people who would dream and beg for the role that you've currently got and the opportunity that you might have in front of you right now. So yeah, I think those are 6 lessons that I think over the 9 years at different points in the career really got me to where I am now. Different lessons will apply at different times. You know, sometimes it's reminding yourself of why you started. Sometimes it's, nah, bro, you're becoming lazy. Where's the work ethic? You know, sometimes I don't know, maybe your character's changed a bit and you need to get back to being authentic and being yourself again. You know, maybe you watched other people a bit too much. You're trying their styles too much. Bring it back. Basics, what worked for you. They will apply at different points, like I said, but these 6, I think, is what I would condense it down to. If you really had to go from average to great, that's what did it for me. Again, I think what I like is that none of these aspects are about selling directly, but it's just, again, just the habits, the day-to-day habits of yourself and your mindset and your approach towards it. So, as I said at the beginning of the video, if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, please hit the like, hit the subscribe, and as always, God bless.